So let's just take a look at what the phone cost. So this will be available in the description, this document here. Most of my clients are in US and Canada, and again, this is in 2024. So if you live somewhere else in the world, it could be a little bit different in pricing. Just email us if you want an exact breakdown. But essentially, here's what the phone cost. And we'll just run through this real quick. But down here, I've got like a rough idea of what your monthly cost will be based on just what I've seen. So usually small businesses, $5 to $25 a month. Medium-sized business, $25 to $75. And then the larger businesses are $75 to $150 a month. But it really depends on how many people you have actually using the CRM and making phone calls. So it's hard to really like say, but this is just a rough idea. You'll easily see there's a summary for every month, right? So you'll see like, okay, 2 months ago I spent this, last month I spent this, so far this month I've spent this. After a couple months, you'll really understand it based on your needs. And then also with painting, at least where I live and stuff, there is seasonality. So winter months, a lot less volume, a lot cheaper. And then, middle of summer when we're busiest, it tends to go up a bit. But let's just go back to this cost here, right? Essentially, to send a text message, they break it up into segments. And one segment is 160 characters. Characters like a letter. So like hi Bob would be HI space BOB, which would be 6 characters. And it's 83 cents per segment, which is really hard to compute. It's basically about 1,200 segments is $10. And then where it gets even more confusing is, if you want to send an emoji or a picture, that's technically called a MSS, which is a little bit different on how they calculate characters. And they're definitely more than one character. I've got the detail breakdown down here of like everything. And there's this calculator here that you can go to where you can like put in a text and calculate how many characters it is. It gets really confusing with, there's different stuff used, but long story short, what I've found by looking at bills and stuff is the average, it comes out to 14 cents per text message. Because, some text messages are bigger in multiple segments. Some text messages have pictures or emoji, but just on average, that's what I've seen it comes out to, which to really put it into comprehensible terms, it costs about $10 for 715 text messages. That'll fluctuate, but that's just the average of what I see. All right, phone calls, basically you get charged per minute, and it depends if you're making the call or receiving the call. It's cheaper, and then this is what it costs to make a call, so 0.014. So if you made a 5-minute phone call times 0.014, you're looking at 7 cents. If you answer a call and it lasts for 5 minutes, times 0.00089, you're looking at about 5 cents. All right, so that's the cost for sending text, making phone calls, and then there's monthly costs. So if you just have a regular phone number, it's $1.21 a month just to have that number. If you got a toll-free number, it's $2.26. And then A2P registration, which was a new law passed in like August of 23. You have to do this if you want to be able to send text messages. So you can make calls, receive text. But if you want to send text, you have a one-time fee that comes out to with everything about $26. And then depending on how you register, if you register as a business with an EIN number, it's $1.70 a month to keep that A2P registration. But if you do it as a sole proprietor or just like a person, not a business, it's a little bit more at $221 per month. And again, really hard to know what any of this means. This is what I see. Again, it's really rough, hard to say. If I had to put something to it, I would say up to 500,000 in revenue, usually around here. I would say 500 to 1.5 million, usually around there. And then I would say like 1.5 to 3 million is usually like in here. And then 3 million plus, you're going to be probably 150 above. Again, it really just depends on how you're using the phones. I mean, you could easily be doing 5 million and not even be using the phones in the CRM. So it's hard to say. And then the full like breakdown that goes over everything, because there's a bunch of like fees for like little things, is right here, where we're separating the SMS segments versus the MMS segments for like emojis and stuffs. There also is a carrier fee depending, so it just depends if it's a T-Mobile number versus if it's AT&T. There's different fees. This is the number that you're actually texting, and if you're using a local versus toll-free number, it's a little bit different. But There are some other optional charges again. So if you want to record calls, it's 15 cents per hour. If you want to use an answering machine detection, which is sprinkled throughout the CRM, but like if you're using an automation and you want to know if an answering machine answered or a person answered because you want a certain thing to happen depending on which one happened, that's about a penny per call or 0.75 pennies per call, and that's where the party picks up. So again, it gets kind of hard to even know what all this means, but these are the actual charges. A voicemail drop is like, instead of calling them, you just send a voicemail to the phone so it doesn't actually ring. And then if you're doing like conference calls and stuff,